Let me say something that might sting a little. Most people are more focused on being seen than being better. They're addicted to the attention, the likes, the applause, and completely detached from the work that actually changes lives. But you don't need the noise, you need focus. Stop wasting energy trying to prove your growth to people who aren't even growing themselves. That's not your job. Your job is to do the work, the internal work. The discipline, the sacrifice, the consistent action nobody sees, but everybody eventually notices. Growth isn't loud, it doesn't scream, it doesn't announce itself. Growth whispers. It shows up when you say no to distractions. It shows up when you stay in on a Friday night to build your dream, when you get up early even though no one's watching, when you choose progress over popularity. If you're serious about leveling up, you've got to cut the noise. No more explaining, no more performing for the audience. You don't need their validation. You need your own respect. Focus on yourself. Make yourself uncomfortable on purpose. Ask better questions. Set bigger goals. Hold higher standards, and most importantly, do it quietly. Let your work introduce you. Let your results speak for you. People may not clap now. That's okay. You're not in this for applause. You're in it for alignment. For excellence, for legacy. Silence is misunderstood. Most people see silence as weakness, as emptiness, as a void. But if you want to truly evolve, if you want to grow into the most unstoppable version of yourself, you've got to start understanding silence as power. The loudest people in the room are rarely the strongest. The strongest are the ones who don't need to prove it. The strongest are the ones building, learning, sharpen. In quietly, when you step away from the noise, something incredible starts to happen. You begin to hear yourself, your real voice, the one that isn't filtered through fear, doubt, or social comparison. But most people never get there. They're too distracted by the noise of the world, the opinions of others, the pressure to perform and impress and show off. That noise will steal your clarity. It will rob you of direction, and worse, it will disconnect you from the person you're trying to become. But silence, that's where alignment begins. When you stop broadcasting every move, when you stop needing the world to witness every step, you create space. Space to think, space to feel, space to breathe. You stop reacting and start reflecting. And in that reflection, you start building a version of yourself that's not dependent on applause or attention. You don't need to tell the world what you're doing. Just do it. Do it without the Instagram post, without the update, without the validation. Do it because your future self deserves it, because your peace requires it. Because growth doesn't ask for attention. It demands discipline, and discipline lives in silence. There's a reason the gym is empty at 5 a.m. There's a reason the top performers in any field talk less and execute more. They understand something most people don't. The spotlight doesn't make you better. Practice does. Reps do. Study does. Sweat does. The grind nobody sees. That's where legends are made, in silence, behind closed doors. In the dark where no one is clapping. That's where strength is built. The more silent you become, the more focused you get. The more focused you get, the faster you grow. And when you grow in silence, you grow from a place of truth. Not pressure, not comparison, just purpose. Your path becomes clearer when you're not constantly looking over your shoulder to see who's watching. And guess what? Most people aren't watching. They're too busy worrying about themselves. So stop trying to perform for an audience that doesn't even care that deeply. Put your head down and work. Silence is where you get real with yourself. It's where you strip away the excuses, the lies, the masks. It's where you face your flaws and take full responsibility for your life. And yes, it's uncomfortable. Growth always is. But silence helps you sit with that discomfort. It helps you confront it without running. And that's where the breakthrough happens. You'll notice something strange when you start embracing silence. People will start noticing a shift. You'll carry yourself differently. You'll speak with more intention. You won't need to argue or prove a point. Your energy will say what your words no longer have to. That's the energy of someone who's been working in silence, someone who knows who they are, someone who's too busy evolving to engage in drama. So the next time you're tempted to explain yourself, to prove your worth, to show off your progress, pause, ask yourself, who am I doing this for? If the answer isn't you, then stop. Turn inward, return to the silence. That's where your power is, because silence isn't empty, it's full of answers, full of wisdom, full of strength. And if you can learn to sit in it, to grow in it, to honor it, you'll walk into every room with a quiet confidence that can't be shaken. Not because you said something, but because you did something. That's real power, and it's found in silence. Your energy is your currency. Let that sink in. Every single day, you wake up with a limited supply of energy, mental, emotional, physical. And just like money, where you spend it matters. Too many people walk around broke. Not financially, but emotionally bankrupt, drained, exhausted, frustrated, and they don't even realize why. It's not because they're doing too much. It's because they're giving too much to the wrong things, the wrong people, the wrong priorities. They're investing their energy in gossip, in comparison, in pointless scrolling, in trying to be liked, and none of it pays them back. But when you finally understand that your energy is your most valuable asset, you start treating it differently. You stop handing it out like candy. You start protecting it like gold. Because what you give your energy to, you give your life to. And not everything deserves a piece of your life. Not every argument needs your response. Not every critic needs your attention. Not every opportunity deserves your yes. Every time you say yes to something that drains you, you're saying no to something that could build you. You're saying no to growth, to clarity, to peace, and that price is too high. You've got to learn how to aud. It's your energy like you aud. It's your bank account. Who's adding value? Who's just withdrawing? What habits are compounding and what habits are bleeding you dry? Ask yourself daily, does this move me closer to who I want to be or further away? Is this conversation helping me grow, or is it distracting me from my purpose? Your energy will always be under attack, from negativity, from chaos, from your own self-doubt. That's why focus is your defense. That's why silence is your shield. That's why boundaries are non-negotiable. You are not weak for walking away. You are not selfish for protecting your peace. You are strategic, because a drained version of you cannot lead, cannot build, cannot elevate. You cannot become the person you're meant to be if you're always operating at half power. You don't need to do more. You need to waste less. Cut the small talk. Stop chasing people who don't see your worth. Let go of old stories that no longer serve you. Energy doesn't lie. If something feels heavy, if someone constantly drains you, it's time to make a change. And yes, that change might make you uncomfortable, but staying stuck will cost you more. Start pouring your energy where it compounds, into discipline, into healing, into learning, into creating, into the habits that sharpen you, into the solitude that strengthens you, into the mission that lights your fire. Energy given in the right place will reward you in ways attention never can. It will build momentum, build resilience, build results. You'll stop needing motivation because you'll be fueled by alignment, and that alignment will put you in rooms, in opportunities, in conversations that distraction could never access. You don't owe anyone your energy. You owe it to your future, to your purpose, to your inner peace. Protect it, honor it, spend it like it matters, because it does. There are no refunds on wasted time or wasted energy. So stop spending yours like it's unlimited. Because one day, you'll look back, and you'll either be proud of where you placed your energy, or you'll regret how freely you gave it away. The difference is in the choices you make right now. So choose wisely. Choose intentionally. Choose yourself, and invest your energy where it truly pays off, within. Discipline isn't something you show off. It's not meant to be paraded around or broadcasted online. Discipline is built in private, in silence, when no one's watching. That's why it's powerful. That's why it works. Because while everyone else is looking for shortcuts and applause, the disciplined ones are out there doing the work, quietly, consistently, relentlessly. Discipline thrives in private because that's where real decisions are made. The ones that no one else will ever see, but that will shape everything. Waking up before the sun, going to the gym when your body wants to quit, choosing the hard thing when the easy option is right there in front of you. Those moments aren't glamorous, they're not fun, but they're everything. That's the grind nobody claps for. That's the effort nobody posts about. And that's where transformation happens. Not in the big, flashy moments, but in the repeated, ordinary choices made behind closed doors. Over and over again, most people want the results of discipline, but they don't want to live the process. They want the body, but they won't commit to the daily grind. They want the business, but they won't show up when it's boring, hard, or quiet. But that's the truth about growth. It's boring before it becomes beautiful. It's lonely before it becomes legendary. And the only people who get there are the ones who learn how to love the work, even when no one is looking. Discipline means doing what needs to be done regardless of how you feel. It means showing up tired. It means staying in when you want to go out. It means putting in the reps, the study, the practice, especially when no one is rewarding you for it. The world sees the outcome, but discipline lives in the process, in the 5 a.m. alarms, in the rejected ideas, in the workouts that hurt, in the meals you say no to, in the late nights you spend writing, learning, or preparing while others are relaxing. Private discipline is the seed of public success. It's the hidden work that builds the strength you'll one day need for the spotlight. But here's the truth. Most people fold in private because they think no one is watching. But that's the test. That's the moment that separates those who want it from those who mean it. If you can't stay disciplined when it's quiet, you'll never stay focused when it gets loud. And when success does come, and it won't feel like luck. It will feel like proof. Proof that the silent hours mattered, that the grind counted, that every unnoticed step was necessary. You don't need motivation. You need systems. You need routines. You need self-respect. Motivation is emotional, but discipline is a decision, and that decision is made daily, moment by moment. No one's going to do it for you. No one's coming to save you. That's why private discipline is the purest form of self-love. It's you deciding you're worth the effort even when no one else notices. It's you proving to yourself that you're not just a dreamer, you're a doer. So forget the noise, forget the likes, the comments, the recognition, lock in, train your mind to embrace the repetition, get obsessed with the process, because the real win isn't what you get from being disciplined, it's who you become. You become someone who doesn't quit, someone who doesn't wait for permission, someone who doesn't break when it gets hard. That version of you, that version is built in silence, and when it's time to show up, you'll be ready, not because you talked about it, but because you lived it quietly, daily, on your own terms. Validation is one of the most addictive distractions you'll ever face. It feels good. It strokes the ego. It gives you that quick dopamine hit that says, you're doing great. But here's the trap: it doesn't last. And worse, it makes you dependent. You start measuring your worth by reactions instead of results. You start creating for approval instead of purpose. You start living through the eyes of others instead of your own. And once you start craving validation, you lose your edge. You forget why you started. You trade growth for attention, and that's a dangerous deal. You don't need validation to be valuable. Your worth isn't determined by likes, praise, followers, applause, or anyone's opinion, because all of that can disappear. One bad day, one bad move, and the same people cheering for you will be gone. If your confidence is built on compliments, you'll crumble the second criticism shows up. But if your confidence is built on truth, on action, on effort, on self-respect, then no one can take it from you. The truth is, people are inconsistent. Today they love you, tomorrow they forget you. That's just how it is. So stop chasing their approval and start building your own. Ask yourself, would I still do this if no one ever clapped? Would I still wake up and fight for this dream if nobody saw it? If the answer is yes, you're on the right track, because that's purpose, that's alignment, and purpose will take you farther than popularity ever will. The need for validation is a distraction because it pulls your focus outward. You start looking around instead of looking ahead. You start hesitating, overthinking, adjusting yourself just to be liked. And every second you spend trying to be liked is a second you're not becoming better. Every ounce of energy wasted on approval is energy that could have been used to build your habits, build your craft, build your mindset. Validation isn't fuel, it's fluff, and too much fluff will make you soft. Real progress happens when you're too focused to notice who's watching, when you stop caring who sees and start caring who you're becoming. When you move from impressing others to respecting yourself, that shift, that's when the game changes. That's when you get honest. You start saying no to what doesn't serve you. You stop explaining yourself. You stop dressing your truth up to make it more palatable. Because when you no longer need the outside world to tell you you're enough, you become dangerous, focused, untouchable. This doesn't mean you shut yourself off from feedback or connection. It means you filter it through your own vision. You don't live for approval. You live for purpose. You don't rely on likes. You rely on discipline. You don't beg to be seen. You get to work and let your results do the talking. The irony is, the moment you stop chasing validation, people start paying attention because they can feel when someone is real, when someone's energy isn't performative, when someone is walking in truth, not begging for applause. So stop checking the scoreboard. Stop worrying if people approve. They don't have to. They're not the ones living your life. They're not the ones waking up with your dreams. Your success isn't up for a vote. Your path isn't a popularity contest. The mission is yours and yours alone. Stay locked in. Stay grounded. Remember why you started. Do the work. Take the hits. Keep moving. Because in the end, it's not the validation that makes you. It's the consistency. It's the focus. It's the quiet decision to keep showing up, even when no one claps, especially when no one claps. That's when it counts the most. There comes a point when words just don't matter anymore. When talking about your goals doesn't move the needle, when explaining yourself gets exhausting, when proving people wrong becomes a waste of your time, that's when you learn the real secret. Let your results do the talking. Because at the end of the day, talk is cheap. Everyone's got dreams. Everyone's got plans. Everyone's got something they want to prove. But only a few have the discipline to shut up, lock in, and actually do it. That's where separation happens. That's when people start to notice, not because you said something, but because you did something. You don't need to tell the world what you're working on. You don't need to convince anyone that you're focused, hungry, or serious. The results will show them, they always do. You just have to stay patient long enough to let them speak. The gym sessions, the early mornings, the business you're building, the mindset you're sharpening, it all adds up. And when it clicks, when the momentum starts to build, there's no mistaking it. You won't have to explain. Your presence will carry weight. Your work will echo louder than any caption ever could. But here's the problem. Most people aren't willing to wait. They want recognition now. They want applause after one small win. They want the world to notice before the work is even done. That's ego. That's insecurity. And it's the fastest way to stall your growth. You have to choose between impressing people and becoming undeniable, because you can't chase both at the same time. One makes you loud, the other makes you dangerous. One keeps you dependent on attention. The other makes you unstoppable with or without it. Letting your results speak isn't about silence for the sake of mystery. It's about letting your consistency build credibility. It's about doing the hard, boring, unglamorous work with zero need for acknowledgement. It's about becoming the kind of person who doesn't need to be seen to feel successful. Because deep down, you know what you're building, you know what's coming, and when it arrives, there'll be no doubt. No arguments, no questions, just proof. There's power in that, power in being underestimated, power in being quiet while you grow, because when the results show up, they hit different. No one can argue with transformation. No one can downplay execution. People might ignore your words, but they can't ignore the shift in your energy, the difference in your results, the reality you've created through action. That speaks volumes. And it speaks for you long after the noise fades, so stop explaining, stop trying to be understood. You don't owe the world a play of your process. You owe yourself results. You owe yourself the satisfaction of knowing you followed through. The moment you stop trying to look like you're winning and start actually winning, everything changes. You stop moving from ego and start moving from purpose. You stop craving attention and start creating impact. In that impact, that's what lasts. Stay quiet, stay committed, put in the reps when no one's clapping, show up when no one's watching, let the late nights and early mornings stack, let the effort compound. One day, your name will pop up in rooms you never entered, your work will travel further than your voice ever could, and the same people who doubted you will wonder how you did it, but you won't need to say a word. The results already said everything.